Every person who has ever locked in an armbar knows his name. Kimura. What almost no one knows, the man who gave his name to the most feared submission in martial arts history, died broken, poor, and forgotten by the country he made great. This is not the story of a technique. This is the story of a man who went 15 years without losing a single fight and then lost everything. Masahiko Kimura was born on September 10th, 1917 in Kumamoto, Japan, a city of misty hills and old samurai traditions. But the Kimura family owned none of that romance. They were poor. At 9 years old, Kimura started judo. The reason was not a dream, not a calling. It was revenge. His teacher, Mr. Tagawa, a first-degree black belt, routinely humiliated him in class. The young Kimura believed that if he reached second dan, he would be strong enough to beat Tagawa. That was the fuel. Not discipline, not philosophy. Pure, childish rage. What followed defied all logic. At 15, Kimura was fourth dan. He defeated 6 opponents of third and fourth dan, back to back, no rest. At 18, he became the youngest fifth dan in the history of the Kodokan. 8 consecutive black belts hit the mat. The judo world in Tokyo looked at this boy from the provinces and saw something they could not explain. His teacher, Tatsukuma Ushijima, saw it clearly. Ushijima drove Kimura into a training regimen no other judoka could survive. 1,000 push-ups a day, 9 hours of training, nightly sessions where Kimura perfected his osotogari against a tree trunk. During randori at the Kodokan, opponents explicitly asked him, "No osotogari." Too dangerous, too many concussions. In 1935, Kimura suffered his last defeats, 4 in total, all in the same year. He considered quitting judo. Instead, he disappeared into the shadows for 6 months and trained until his technique was no longer a skill, but a law of nature. He never lost again. The All Japan Judo Championships. The most important judo tournament in the world. Open weight class, no restrictions. Kimura was 20 years old. His first 2 opponents fell to osotogari, the throw he had perfected against trees. In the final, he faced Masayuki Nakajima, the 2-time defending champion. A 40-minute battle. Kimura won. That night, he ate 13 bowls of rice and did 500 push-ups before sleeping. He did not sleep. He kept replaying the moments where Nakajima had nearly scored. His conclusion? To hold this title for 10 years, he had to train harder than any judoka ever had. So he trained 9 hours a day, while his rivals did 3 or 4. 1,000 push-ups where they did 300. In 1938, Kimura won again. In 1939, again. 3 consecutive All-Japan titles, the first judoka in history to do it. He received the championship flag. No one else would ever own that flag. In 1940, Kimura fought before the emperor himself, the Tenran Shiai, a special tournament held in the presence of Emperor Hirohito. 32 professional judoka. Kimura defeated every opponent. The final lasted 42 seconds. This was the peak, the invincible god of Japanese judo. But gods fall, and the fall of Masahiko Kimura would not come from a judoka, but from a country that first taught him to hate and then forgot him. The war came. Kimura was drafted into Japan's air defense. He survived, many others did not. After Japan's surrender in 1945, judo was banned by the American occupation forces. The art Kimura had perfected could no longer exist. When 4 American servicemen harassed Japanese civilians at a train station, Kimura intervened. He defeated all 4, one with a kick to the groin, one thrown into a river, one with a headbutt, and the last with pure brute force. A week later, he was invited to military police headquarters, not for punishment, to teach the Americans judo. In 1951, Kimura traveled to Brazil. It was a promotional tour, judo demonstrations, exhibition matches. He was 34 in the autumn of his career. He expected no war. But in Rio de Janeiro, Hélio Gracie was waiting. The youngest and most physically fragile of the Gracie brothers had developed a fighting style he called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, an adapted form of judo optimized for ground fighting, designed so a smaller man could defeat a larger one. Gracie had already proven his system worked. He had defeated Kimura's teammate, Yukio Kato, by choke. Now he challenged Kimura himself. The terms favored Gracie. Throws would not count. Only submission or unconsciousness would determine the winner. Kimura accepted without hesitation. On October 23, 1951, the two men entered the Maracanã Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. 20,000 spectators. President Getúlio Vargas sat in the front row. Gracie's students carried a coffin into the arena for Kimura. The Brazilian crowd pelted him with raw eggs and insults. The Japanese embassy had warned Kimura, "If you lose, you cannot return home." The fight began. Gracie attempted throws. Kimura blocked them all. Kimura threw Gracie with uchigari, haraigoshi, uchimata, iponseoinage. Again and again, the Brazilian slammed against the mat. But the mat was soft, designed for demonstrations. Gracie survived. Kimura understood. Throwing would not be enough. In the second round, he took the fight to the ground. He controlled Gracie with Kuzure Kamishi Hogatame, 4-point control, no escape possible. Gracie fought to breathe under the weight. Then he tried to push free with his arm. That was the opening. Kimura seized the arm and applied Gyaku Udegarami, the reverse arm lock. Gracie did not tap. Kimura rotated further. The arm broke. Gracie still did not tap. Kimura rotated again. The arm broke a second time. Still no surrender. Kimura positioned for a third break. That was when Gracie's corner threw in the towel. It was over. The Japanese in the crowd lifted Kimura onto their shoulders. Doctors attended to Gracie's arm. The technique Kimura used would forever carry his name, the Kimura lock. Years later, Kimura wrote about the fight in his autobiography with striking matter-of-factness. No triumph, no arrogance. He described Gracie as a brave opponent who refused to surrender until his body gave out. It was the account of a warrior recognizing another warrior. Kimura returned to Japan a hero. But the Japan of 1951 was not the Japan he had left behind. The war had changed everything. Judo was no longer a source of national pride. It was a relic of a defeated empire. There was no money in judo. There was no future. So Kimura did what so many judoka did in those years. He transitioned to professional wrestling. In post-war Japan, pro wrestling was explosively popular, a fusion of sport, theater, and national catharsis. The biggest star was Riki Dozan, a Korean-Japanese wrestler who became a national hero by defeating American wrestlers in scripted matches. Kimura became his partner, and later, his opponent. On December 22, 1954, Kimura and Riki Dozan faced each other in what was supposed to be a scripted match. The outcome was predetermined. Kimura would lose. But what happened in the ring was not theater. The details remain contested, but the consensus among historians is that Riki Dozan broke the script. Instead of the agreed-upon moves, he threw real strikes, real kicks, targeting Kimura's head and body. Kimura, the strongest judoka Japan had ever produced, was beaten down in a match he was not allowed to win. The crowd, who did not know the script had been broken, watched their God of Judo fall. The humiliation was total. The legitimacy Kimura had built over 15 years of undefeated judo in the Maracanã before 20,000 people, before the emperor himself, evaporated in a single night. Rikidozan became an even bigger star. Kimura vanished into the shadows. The Kodokan, the worldwide headquarters of judo, froze his rank at 7th Dan. The man who had won 3 All-Japan titles, who had fought before the emperor, who had defended Japan's name in Brazil, received no higher promotion. Officially, because of his move to professional wrestling. Unofficially, he had become a memory the Kodokan preferred to forget. Rikidozan would remain Japan's greatest wrestling icon until 1963, when he was stabbed in a Tokyo nightclub with a urine-soaked knife. He died a week later. Kimura remained, alive but broken, in a country that no longer needed him. The years that followed were quiet. Kimura taught, here and there, at Takushoku University, at local dojos, to whoever would listen. The man who did 1,000 push-ups a day kept training, even as his body began to fail. Lung cancer. The diagnosis came late. The treatment was brutal. Kimura underwent surgery. From his hospital bed, still recovering from the operation, he started doing push-ups again. It was no longer training. It was who he was. On April 18, 1993, Masahiko Kimura died. 75 years old, in relative poverty, in relative obscurity. But names have lives of their own. The technique he used to defeat Hélio Gracie spread across the world. Fighters in cages in Las Vegas, in gyms in Sao Paulo, in dojos in Tokyo. Every single day, someone, somewhere, locks in a Kimura. Most know the grip. Few know the man. History is rarely just. It forgets the broken. It remembers the victors. And Kimura was, in the only fight the world remembers, indeed the victor. But history is also careless. It forgot that the same man lost everything he had won. His rank stayed frozen. His championship flag became a footnote. His face faded from public memory. What remained was a word, Kimura, spoken every day by people who do not know his story. That is not a triumph. It is something bitter, something suspended between pride and tragedy. A name that became immortal while the man died. You have seen how Mitsuyo Maeda carried judo across the ocean. You have seen how Hélio Gracie turned it into a Brazilian art. Now you have seen the man who stood between those two worlds and was forgotten by both. Kimura's story is not a chapter in the Gracie saga. It is the other side of the coin. The man who was technically superior, who won the fight that counts in the history books, and who vanished anyway. Not because of a better fighter, but because of a world that no longer had a place for him. If this story moved you, leave a like. Subscribe to Tatami Codex for more documentaries about the warriors and teachers who shaped the fighting arts. And in the comments, did you know the full story behind the Kimura lock? Or did you, like most, only know the name? The technique outlived the man. The name travels further than the body ever could. That is not justice, but it is something. If Kimura's story stayed with you and you want to go deeper, here are the books that built this documentary. Every link is below in the description. The definitive English language biography is Kimura, the triumphs and tragedy of one of judo's greatest and most controversial champions, by Christopher M. Clark. It is the most complete account of Kimura's life available in English, from Kumamoto to the Maracanã, from the All Japan titles to the Rikidozan betrayal. If you only read one book from this list, read that one. Kimura's own words exist. My Judo, his autobiography. It is out of print and extremely difficult to find in English translation, but excerpts are available online. When you read his account of the Gracie fight, what strikes you is the absence of ego, no bravado, just a warrior describing another warrior. For the Brazilian side of the story, Robert Drysdale, multiple-time BJJ world champion and rigorous historian, has written two essential books. Opening Closed Guard, The Origins of Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil, traces the Japanese roots of BJJ with a level of scholarship the Gracie mythology resisted for decades. His follow-up, The Rise and Evolution of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, carries the story from valetudo to the global sport it is today. Drysdale doesn't flatter, he documents. Roberto Pedreira's Choque series, 3 volumes covering 1856 to 1999, is the most exhaustively researched history of Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil ever written. Pedreira worked from primary sources, newspaper archives, and fight records. If you want to understand the world Kimura walked into when he landed in Rio, start with Choque Volume 2, which covers the decade of the Gracie fight. For the human side of the Gracie dynasty, Rickson Gracie's memoir, Breathe, A Life in Flow, is a window into the family that Kimura's victory helped define. And Kid Peligro's The Gracie Way remains the illustrated standard, the family's own telling of their history. Read it alongside Drysdale and Pedreira, and you'll see where the mythology and the scholarship diverge. Finally, The Rise and Fall of Rikidozan by George Twigg. A novel, not a history, but it captures the post-war Japan that swallowed Kimura whole. A country searching for heroes, finding one, and destroying the other. All links are in the description.